I've traveled all the way to Louisville, Kentucky to give you a look at the all-new Ford Escape. I would appreciate it if you would click subscribe and then notifications. Thank you. The F-150 pickup might be Ford's cash cow, but there's no escaping the fact that this small crossover adds green to the blue oval's bottom line. Escape is the brand's second best-selling vehicle and a popular choice in a segment jam-packed with competitors. You know, Honda CR-V, Toyota RAV4, Chevy Equinox, Jeep Cherokee, Nissan Rogue, Kia Sportage, Hyundai Tucson, Mazda CX-5, and Subaru Forester. The Ford here is all new. Escape is very important to Ford considering that it's getting rid of all of its sedans. This one needs to cover a lot of bases, and in the powertrain department it certainly does. There are 2 gas engines, a return of the hybrid, plus a new plug-in hybrid system. Ford projects 30 miles of electric-only range on that one. In this video, I'm focusing on the standard gas-only models at the press launch in Louisville, Kentucky, where Ford builds Escape. I'll do a separate piece on the hybrids. In a giant conference room where Ford held tech walkarounds, one thing was very clear: it's laser targeting a particular group.
If you know anything about the demographics of our customer base, the vast majority of people who buy Escapes are female.
I mean, look at the graphics on the displays. A more rugged vehicle built on the same architecture that the press has nicknamed Baby Bronco, it might be called Bronco Scout, will take care of the machismo market. Escape clearly looks more car-like now, almost like a large Focus hatchback, and if you remember, those will be disappearing from US showrooms. Slightly longer, wider, and lower now, it's also about 200 pounds lighter. I'm mainly profiling the titanium model with an EcoBoost 4-cylinder engine because I spent the most time with it. There's a 1.5-liter 3-cylinder turbo motor with 181 horsepower and 190 pound-feet of torque. It can deactivate one piston for better fuel economy. It's noticeably slower off the line, and in my brief run around town with it, seemed to upshift aggressively to max out fuel economy, causing the engine to feel like it was lugging a bit. Sport mode helped take care of that. On to the turbocharged 4. It's a 2-liter that puts out 250 horsepower and 280 pound-feet of torque. Titanium gets a head-up display that shows a lot of info while driving. Gas-powered Escapes shift gears with an 8-speed transmission. This more powerful engine adds these for manual control. Whether you go with front or all-wheel drive, there are modes that maximize the chances of Escape getting through the terrain it's been pointed across. The gauge cluster looks pretty good. The 2-liter engine can tow up to 3,500 pounds. Right, I'm driving the 2-liter turbo engine, and the power delivery is about what you'd expect. A little bit soft off the line, but power then really builds. A touch course in the upper revs, it feels and sounds more refined than the 4-cylinder in the RAV4. I will guesstimate 0 to 60 happens in about 7 seconds, which is quick enough in this segment. Steering weight builds with speed, feeling solid while cruising. Transmission and throttle response differences are definitely felt when changing the drive mode from eco to normal to sport. Now, Ford isn't on record saying that there's going to be an ST. My goodness, I sure hope there's going to be. I mean, it kind of fills out the model line. This one is comfortable, and there is some body roll in the corners. It's what you would expect. This is not supposed to be a sports sedan. There's some understeer, but the front end doesn't plow during hard cornering. Overall, the chassis feels luxury car solid. Torsional rigidity is up by 10%. Ford is very proud of the fact that they're using ultra-high-strength steel in the pillars, which makes them thin, which makes visibility really good. The cabin feels nice and airy, especially when equipped with a panoramic roof. Earlier, I was doing 80 miles an hour on the freeway, and Escape is pretty quiet. There's laminated glass up front, so that helps. Standard Co-Pilot 360 includes automatic emergency braking with pedestrian detection, blind spot detection, and lane keep assist. The optional Plus package adds a solid lane keep assist and adaptive cruise control. There's a fully automated parking system too. One thing I'll point out, the brakes, very touchy off the top. Wish there was a little bit better feathering in. The all-wheel drive system automatically disengages the rear axle to improve fuel economy. Ford claims that's up 20%. Hustling it pretty hard, I saw about 25 miles per gallon on roads mostly like this. So, riding in the back with me is Alex Leantz with Motor Trend, and you're what, 6'10"? How is it back there?
It's quite spacious, actually.
Okay, we'll cover the back seat a little bit later. For now, let's cover the overall ambiance of the cabin. The Fancy Pants titanium model is as swanky as Escape gets. The wood is clearly from plastic trees, and door handles are hard with seams that can be clearly felt. If you were hoping for a budget Lincoln Corsair, which is built on the same architecture, this is not it. Drop down to the SE model, and the bark is replaced with silver painted decor. It's functional in here with all sorts of nooks and crannies that are good for stashing things away. USB-C ports future-proof this Ford, and wireless charging will be available. Spending a good 6 hours in the heated seats, I can tell you they're supportive and comfortable with the right amount of firmness. Ford claims the perforations help keep the road noise down. Higher trim levels get an 8-inch touchscreen and the Sync 3 user interface. Response is generally good. Pinch and zoom felt sluggish. Most models come with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Titanium's Bang & Olufsen sound system is pretty solid, and there are the right amount of hard buttons to control it. In back, Escape has a lot of room for a crossover in this class, and my favorite feature, you can maximize cargo room or leg room. Footroom is very generous. That could be trimmed up a little bit better. Thigh support is very good. Why there's no pocket here, I do not know. Doors open wide enough to get car seats in and out easily. Storage is kind of skimpy. Electronics can be charged up, handy if you're accessing the standard Wi-Fi hotspot. Even with the big glass roof, Alex at 6'10" was okay in the back, and I would say that 2 adults will travel quite nicely here in Escape. The seat's wide enough so that 3 thinner ones will be okay for city trips. I'm 1,700 miles away from the Costco I use for my TP tests, so that's not happening. I'll be using my luggage, which I put all my gear and 3 days worth of clothing in here. I travel light. This is a generous space. My big backpack looks pretty lonely in here, don't you think? Let's flash back to the walk around.
We've actually packaged 6. So we were targeting 4, and the team was able to actually package 6 golf club bags. And yes, believe it or not, a full-size dog crate also fits in the back of the Escape.
Some vehicles don't include a spare tire. Gas-powered Escapes do, though I found that the hybrid only offered a repair kit. Here's a gripe. I see no seat back releases that can be used from the back. It means having to open the back door to drop them from here. And that's kind of a hassle. Do the seats fold completely flat? Nope, if that's a deal breaker for you. And there's a little bit of a lip, but the overall space is large and useful, good enough to haul a couple bikes and a lot of camping gear. Pricing for the base front drive S model with the 3-cylinder turbo engine begins at just under $26,000 with destination. May I suggest moving up to the SE that adds automatic climate control, heated front seats with a 10-way power adjustment for the driver, and keyless entry. The all-wheel drive titanium here starts at $37,800. A lot of loyal Escape owners will give this new sleeker model a good hard look. They'll appreciate the added performance and better fuel economy. Overall, it's a more refined package than the outgoing one. Considering this vehicle's importance, it seems like Ford's bean counters were a little stingy with the small details, the kind that surprise and delight. This is a very competitive segment. There's no escaping that. You might be wondering why I'm not showing more of the hybrid version. It's because at the time that I'm releasing this video, there's an embargo or a hold on driving impressions, meaning I can't say anything about performance and such. It's not up to me. I'm not trying to be a tease. I'll have a separate video on the hybrid soon, okay? And so you know, the plug-in version was not available to drive on this event. Well, thanks for sticking around to the very end. Hope you got something out of my look at the all-new Ford Escape. A reminder, click subscribe and then notifications so you never miss any of these reviews. From Louisville, Kentucky, that's Driven. I'm Tom Voelk.